Well, what David was really big on me about was just trusting the language. And that was a big thing that I had to that was my big challenge, I'll say, was just trusting in the language and trusting that I knew what I was saying and just following it all the way through and not rushing, because in my life, I speak very quickly. So there was that, but also what I thought about Juliet and what I kind of wanted to bring to it was, when I read it, I was like, she's really funny. Like, she's kind of spastic. Like, she actually is a little bit, like, one minute she says one thing and the next minute she says the other, and she really believes whatever she's saying. She really believes it. So the fact that she can go that quickly from believing one thing to believing the exact opposite thing in a matter of seconds, to me means her brain moves like this, So the thing about her that I liked was she's extremely intelligent, but I like that she's young and she's just open. And that was a big thing that David was working on with me, is to just stay open. It was very interesting kind of discovering really who Juliet was, because I realized that she was not so far from myself. And not that I thought she was in the beginning, but I realized as it went on how much she reminded me of myself when I was 14 and less jaded about love, all these things. And so that was actually very, it was an exciting discovery, but it was also a hard one. It was a hard one to actually face, where you are with love and your own. In order to do a play like this, you have to kind of face how you feel about love. You have to come to terms with yourself in order to portray these roles, which is very, very difficult. But yeah, I wanted to give her a sense of fun, and I feel like whenever I thought of Romeo and Juliet, I thought of this very somber, very woe is me kind of a thing, and I wanted to bring this kind of youthful energy. Like, it reminds me of fireflies. They remind me of fireflies. It's just kind of all over the place, and then when things start to go south, you basically watch her grow into a young adult in a matter of however long the play, I forget how long the play takes over, the course of a few days. She grows ridiculously in a few days. So to go through that 8 times a week was quite something. But yeah, Juliet. Oh, working with Orlando was great. The thing about Orlando that I love is he's a really generous spirit. When he first came in, I knew we hit it off from the very get-go. Like, we just had a sense for each other. We're like, okay, great, this is going to be great. But what's really great about him is, like, he's down to work on stuff. Even when we're not rehearsing something. For David, we would go to the side and rehearse. We'd go over it. We'd try to discover it. Or he even said, if there's any time where, you feel like something's off or something's not working, just come to me and let's figure it out. Let's talk about it. So we would, sometimes during the play, we'd be like, hey, what about this part? Maybe we should try this today. Okay, let's try, so it was great working with Orlando. I mean, all I can say about the behind the scenes is we had so much fun. This cast was pure mischief and fun. We all hung out after the show most of the time. We became very, very close in the beginning because we're a team. And that's the way I always kind of looked at it. People kept saying, yeah, but, it's Juliet and you're Romeo and it's Juliet. And I always felt like, yeah, but Romeo and Juliet, the story does not exist without the world that they come from. And so we can't tell the story without this cast that we're a part of. It's tricky because if you're watching yourself in film, then I can say what I would do differently. But I still stand behind my choices that we did in this production. But because you're filming, we didn't change our performances. So what you see is what we were doing for a house of 1,000-something people. So close-ups of that are going to look a little interesting for us because we're the actors. So for me, there are moments where if I'd have done that performance for actual film, I wouldn't have done that. You see what I'm saying? But I didn't change my performance for the film because I was told not to, because I wanted to capture what we were really doing. So it's hard to say whether I would do anything different. I mean, with the play itself, what I would do differently is nothing. I just keep doing it. It just gets better as it goes. So yeah, I don't know if I would do anything differently per se.